Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hello everyone, how is life? Hope you're doing okay. Today is the 25th of January 2021, about a month ago. In fact, exactly a month ago was Christmas. Weird how quickly January has gone. At least to me it feels like it's gone really quickly anyway. Anyway, one exciting thing about Christmas of 2020 was that Disney Plus released Soul, their new Pixar film, on the platform. And I watched it. I think I first watched it a couple of days after Christmas, like the 27th or 28th of December. I watched it with my family. We all loved it. I'm going to talk about it in this video, obviously. Then I also watched it again a couple of weeks ago in German. I've been learning German for the past few years and I just wanted to practice my German, so I thought let's just watch it in German. And it was great, obviously, because I just watched it in English. I knew everything that was happening, so I could just improve my German by trying to figure out, you know, the little words that I didn't know, that kind of thing. I recommend it. If you're trying to learn a new language, watch Disney films in that language. I'm also going to probably watch it again at some point soon because my friend really wants to watch it and we've planned to potentially watch it together. Obviously we're in lockdown, so I can't see my friend. She doesn't live in London anyway, but basically I can see myself watching this film quite a few more times because I enjoyed it a lot. So let's talk about the film, even though it's been a month since it got released. I have quite a few things to say about it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, don't worry if you haven't watched it yet. And by the way, if I'm looking down, it's because I've got some notes on my phone. I want to make sure I don't forget to mention everything that I want to talk about. Okay, so Soul, if you didn't know, is a new Pixar film that came out last month on Christmas Day 2020. I don't know why I'm in such a weird mood. Yeah, the film came out on Disney Plus. Obviously, originally it was meant to be released in cinemas and everything, but as we know, because of the pandemic, things have been very different for the past year. I'd seen the trailer for Soul and I was very much looking forward to it, but I didn't really know too much about it. Obviously, you know, with the title Soul, I had a vague idea of what it was going to be like, but yeah, I went on a full-on journey watching this film. Like, it took me by surprise. I'm gonna give you a very short, like, plot summary. No spoilers, just like a little bit of a vibe as to what you can expect, I guess, in the film, so you get the idea of what it's about. It's about a guy. He's called Joe and he's a jazz piano player. He's like a phenomenal piano player, in fact. I'm jealous of him. He's got phenomenal skills. I wish I could play like him. I obviously play the piano, but I'm not a natural, so I can read sheet music, I can play from sheet music, but I don't think I've got the ear for music like he does. And to be a good jazz player, you have to be able to play by ear and just play from your soul, which unfortunately I'm not able to do. But anyway, he's a piano player and all he wants in his life is to like get this gig, like kind of become successful in the music industry as a piano player. Like when we first meet him, when we're first introduced to him in the film, like literally in the first minute of the film, he's a music teacher in some kind of high school and that's kind of his job. Obviously he has more dreams. He wants to actually be a performer. That's kind of his dream, like all of us, you know, we all have dreams, right? And then within the first 10 minutes of the film, like, I don't think this is a spoiler, basically he dies. I think that's very obvious from the film, from the idea of the film. He dies at one point, and then for the majority of the film we get to see him as his soul, and that's where I'm going to stop talking about the plot. The concept of this film is phenomenal, really cool. Not surprising for Pixar. Like, Pixar always comes out with really exciting and interesting concepts, and the way they portray them as well in the films I've always thought is incredible. I mean, look at Inside Out, one of my favorite films of all time, and I felt like Soul was actually quite similar to Inside Out in the sense that it touches on difficult subjects such as death, such as afterlife, and the way they've come up with the idea of kind of what happens when you die, I think is very clever. I think Soul is visually stunning. Like, it's beautiful. It is a feast for your eyes. I am so amazed by what Pixar have been able to do in the past few years, and they're continuously becoming better and better with their animation and how visually beautiful it looks, and the colors, and oh my god, the lighting in this film is phenomenal. Like, lighting is not something that I usually pay too much attention to, but in this film there are just some phenomenal scenes, some phenomenal lighting scenes that you're just like, wow, things look so real and beautiful. Like, there are some scenes in this film where you genuinely think you're watching actual human beings. You forget that they're animated, especially some of the busier scenes like in New York when there's loads of people just walking around. Oh my god, incredible how they've done it. Like, I am in awe of Pixar, honestly. Also, I really loved how in the scenes with a bunch of people, like especially in the scenes, in the crowded scenes in New York on the streets and stuff, you would see so many different body types, so many different races, like just different people, which is the reality. Like, if you go to New York, there are so many different people walking about on the streets. It's not just all white, thin people. So I loved that Pixar had incorporated that into their film, and it just looks incredible, honestly. I can't, like, in terms of visuals, beautiful. Like, mwah! There's a scene where Joe first sees this woman who's a saxophone player in a bar, and like, that scene is so stunning. The woman just looks beautiful. She looks real, again with the lighting and everything, the shadows and everything. Oh my god, like, I'm just phenomenal. This film is worth watching just so you can give your eyes a treat. The angles that they use, the different lighting, just I loved it, okay? Visually, I thought it was phenomenal, perfect. Now let's talk about the idea behind the film, the whole concept of it. Obviously I've spoken a little bit about it already, I've touched on it, but it is about death and what happens after life. I thought what they've done with that and kind of how they showed in the film what happens to us when we die, and like, I don't know, just like the afterlife, I guess. It's just very clever, right? And again, this isn't a spoiler in my opinion, because you can kind of see, if you've seen any of the trailers from Soul, you know that there's this blue little guy, and surely that blue little guy is not human, so you kind of get the idea that that's meant to be his soul. I think it's a big thing to pull off a film where your main character, Joe, spends time in 3 different bodies, so he looks like 3 different people. It's the same character, but you see him as 3 different entities, if that makes sense. And to be able to pull that off without it being too confusing, I think is a big thing, and I believe Pixar did pull it off. I didn't think it was confusing at all. I felt like the character of Joe is so strong, and you like know him so well that it doesn't matter what he looks like throughout the film, you know it's him. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but if you've seen the film, you know what I mean. However, having said that, I felt like the afterlife concept, or like basically the area that they all were, where all the souls were, perhaps wasn't as clear as the Inside Out concept. So if you've seen Inside Out, that's about our emotions and how they work and the brain and everything, which I think is really cool. Again, it's just an idea that Pixar have come up with and made it into like a cartoon, which is so cool. This is kind of a similar thing, but about death. And I found parts of it a little bit more confusing than with Inside Out. I think Inside Out is a lot clearer. I feel like if a child watched Soul, for instance, they would probably find it quite confusing. To be honest though, with Pixar films, I feel like they're mainly for adults anyway. Like, I don't think most children are going to understand what Soul is about, to be honest. They'd probably enjoy it though, because there are some hilarious scenes in this film. So I actually really enjoyed all the funny moments in this film, and I feel like it's the kind of thing that kids would definitely enjoy as well. There's some really good kids humor in it, but also some adult humor, some really funny lines that only adults would understand. Very clever script, really enjoyed it. Also, something that I personally loved is that in the film there's a scene where you see someone getting tattooed, like you see a tattoo artist tattooing someone in the film. That is so cool to me as somebody who loves tattoos, who has quite a lot of tattoos. I think it's cool that Disney have kind of progressed with what the world is like these days and have made a tattoo artist tattooing their client a normal thing in their new film Soul. I thought that was just really cute. There's a character in the film called 22, which actually brought me so much joy, because in German 22 is 22, and it just doesn't feel as right. Like 22 just kind of rolls off the tongue, whereas 22, I don't know, it's just a bit harder to say, I guess. This is obviously because I watched the film in German as well, but 22 is a character, I don't want to give too much away again, but she's probably the secondary character after Joe. You see her a lot in the film and she is phenomenal. She's my favorite. She is voiced by Tina Fey, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. I thought the voice actors all did a great job, like really good, as Pixar always does, really. But yeah, 22 is my favorite character. She's just funny, she's charismatic, she's hilarious, she's a good contrast to Joe's character as well. Without her, the film just wouldn't make sense. She teaches Joe a lesson, she teaches all of us a lesson. It's just cute, right? And the relationship between 22 and Joe is just, it's amazing. And the progression that they make as the film goes on, like they all go on a journey, especially the 2 main characters, Joe and, I was about to say Joe and Tina Fey, Joe and 22, they go on a full-on journey, and it is a beautiful journey. The whole message behind this film is beautiful. It was such an important message as well, I think, for people to kind of be reminded of in a time like this, throughout coronavirus, throughout this pandemic that we're all in. I didn't cry though, which was surprising. I normally cry at most Pixar films, but yeah, this one didn't make me cry. It made me think a lot, it made me emotional, definitely. I felt emotional a lot throughout the film. I also laughed a lot, so I felt like the balance was great. So yeah, I didn't cry. Like I could tell exactly what the moment was that was meant to make me cry, but it didn't make me cry. Whereas like Inside Out, even though I've seen it many times since it was released in 2015, it makes me cry basically every single time. So I don't know, there was clearly something that I felt was maybe missing in this film in terms of how I connected with the characters and the film itself, and I can't put my finger on it. Like I can't understand why I didn't love the film. The visuals are amazing, the story is really cool, the idea, the message behind it is phenomenal, the characters are great, they're funny, but there's something that just there was missing. I don't know why. I feel like this film should have easily become one of my favorite Pixar films, but it hasn't. I loved the film, but I feel like if I had like a Pixar tier list here, this would probably be in the mid-tier list somewhere, maybe just above the mid-tier list, but definitely not at the very top. So I don't know. Again, if you have seen the film, please let me know in the comments what you thought of it, and if you know why I didn't love it as much as maybe I felt like I should. The message behind it though is basically about the fact that life is beautiful, and that we should just focus on the little things in life, focus on the little things that bring us joy, stop worrying so much about trying to get that job or like trying to make it in the music industry, or stop stressing so much about chasing our dreams, because one day we're all gonna die anyway, and we don't want to be looking back at our lives and thinking all we did was just try and chase our dreams and forgot to actually appreciate the little things that life has to offer, like sunshine. Like, it's quite a sunny day today and I'm appreciating that, or a phone call with a friend, or I don't know, like little things, just like the leaves falling from the trees when it's autumn time, watching a nice TV show. Like, little things should bring you joy, and that's what makes life. That's what ultimately makes life good. That's what makes your life matter, in my opinion, not whether or not you made it as a successful person. I think that's so important. It's such a comforting message as well, like I said, especially in a time like this when so many people are struggling with losing their jobs and being furloughed and all these situations. I think it was important to have something like this, and like I said, it really comforted me. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it's a very rewatchable film as well. Like I said, I've already watched it twice and I can see myself watching it many more times in the future. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it maybe a 7 or an 8. Like I said, there's something about it that didn't make me fall in love with the film, but I did enjoy it, and I thought it was really clever, very beautiful, visually stunning, and this is where I'm going to end this video. Sorry, by the way, if my hair's been a mess. Like I said, my hair length at the moment is just not the best. It's not ideal. It's not the kind of hair length that I want, but we are in lockdown, so I can't cut my hair until hairdressers reopen. I mean, I could just cut it myself, but kind of don't want to. I just don't trust myself, okay? I might get my mom to cut it at some point, because she is an artist. She's never really cut my hair before, but she's an artist, so maybe she can try it. It depends on when the lockdown situation ends. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this film if you have watched it. Also, I wanted to show you my t-shirt because I felt like it was quite appropriate wearing this whilst I speak about Soul. It says one day we'll all be dead and none of this will matter anymore, which is kind of what Soul is about in a way, you know? Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram if you want to, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.